I want to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, February 23rd workshop meeting of Verona Council, and let's stand for the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance
to
the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, America, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Justice for all.
Okay.
That's
all
bad.
Right. Yeah, I know. Mr. Mayor, would you please do roll call?
Yes. Mr. Matlin? He's
Present.
muted.
Yep, present.
Dr. Carpenter?
Present.
Miss Provenza?
present.
Miss Loelbo?
Present.
Mr. Suchovich?
Present.
Mr. Forback?
Present.
And I'm going to just say Trish.
Present.
Thank you.
And Mayor Recupero.
And I'm here myself also.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to start off the meeting with Mr. Scott Foddy, who's going to talk to us about the potential of a joint RFP for a building plan and inspector. So Scott, if you'd like to start us off, that would be great.
Thank you. Good evening, Council and Mr. Mayor. I am Scott Foddy, Borough Manager for Oakmont. And good evening. In recent weeks, the current third-party UCC construction and plan review inspector gave notice to the borough that they were no longer going to be named our BCO, our building code official. And I started preparing an RFP for professional services for the UCC component of the services we provide for construction and plan review. Fast forward to a couple weeks, and I had a discussion with Susan Hockenberry, who I believe you've all met in one way, shape, or form. And the conversation segued into UCC and her paradigm, which she thought that we had somebody on staff that we could run an intergovernmental cooperative agreement together and share the service. I've made things a little bit easier to say, no, we actually hire out, and I'm looking for an entity right now. So her and I were brainstorming, and I think I talked to Nancy and somebody else last week about it. And the RFP essentially is asking for the professional services of UCC inspection and plan review for both residential and commercial construction and every aspect of that construction. It's not for code enforcement, nor is it for zoning enforcement. That is a separate bird in this discussion so far. The RFP, which I provided last week in draft form, does a couple stipulations. It gives a criteria of what I would expect in services from the third party, namely a strong technology presence, meaning applicants in the borough could do their applications online, trying to reduce paper, trying to make it a more expedient submission process. Permit issuance would be still handled at the boroughs, respectively, so we can keep our administrative numbers intact about construction in the borough, that sort of thing. Also, in the RFP, it's designed that there is mandated hours that they would visit the borough buildings, respectively, to talk to administration, to keep that communication loop open, as well as being available for resident applicants to pop in the door. If you have a copy in front of you, there's a lot of areas that are yellow. Those are things I'm still thinking about, namely time frame of the agreement, the time frame to accept RFPs, to interview, and to award, and when to start. I can field any questions as I go along here. It's a pretty straightforward agreement. I used this agreement in previous years when I was a manager in Butler County for a third-party entity. I'll be reaching out to individual companies for an RFP, mostly known in the region. My thought process and Sue's thought process was there's some leverage here that maybe one community of 2,200 residents and one community of 6,600 residents might not be too attractive, but combining both boroughs in the service area might make it a little more attractive to a code entity that they would stay in the region. You know, they'd have bigger footprint to cover. And that was my hope. That's the goal. Permitting fees, essentially, if you recall, this is nothing that costs the boroughs anything. The permit fees paid by applicants for construction permits and plan review is covered by the fee structure and the fee schedule that the respective entity would issue to us that we would adopt by resolution. So it's not going to cost us anything once we retain a service, like currently for us. So it's a pass-through is what it is, essentially. Now there's a $4 surcharge, but that goes to the state for the Construction Codes Academy. And other than that, except for us making a phone call to say your permit's ready and here it is at the window, there's really no cost to the borough for the UCC component of construction and plan review. Are there any questions?
Hey, this is Mike. So this is strictly for, say, new construction or improvements in the permitting that would, and to make sure that's up to code without. As you said, this is not our day-to-day normal file the respond to complaints type of thing. But this is, so that's what you said, right? Am I correct? Because I was.
That is correct. This is for non-code enforcement. That is either zoning officer duty or an officer for code enforcement issues. This is strictly construction, new construction, alterations, remodeling, electrical work, plumbing work, all those fun things. So
since it would be both boroughs, I mean, the time allotted each would be depending on where they, really it would be based on the project, I'm assuming, right? Not necessarily you're going to spend.
In volume of work, correct, yes.
Right, yeah.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, this is Dave Matlin. I had from my notes, were we talking about doing a possible separate option for Verona to have the proposers put in an option for property maintenance and code enforcement, or am I misunderstanding that?
No, you're not, and I actually included there for both of us too.
Okay. Yeah,
because that's a service I'll be looking for too. But yeah, it's there as well. It is obviously there for property maintenance as well as maybe zoning enforcement, that component.
Okay.
So it's there at least to see what the pricing would be, and I'm sure there'd probably be an hourly rate is what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. That's how I assume they would do it. Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions? So, is this something that you need us to make a motion and decide on tonight? I mean, is that your preference, Scott?
I think consensus would be fine, or if you want to move forward. I'm going to talk about, I have a council meeting next Tuesday evening to discuss it in more detail about our meeting. I polled them individually. They had, there was like, makes sense to me, Scott, go ahead and see what happens. So it's whether we do it or not, you have a copy of an RFP that you want to use, you can certainly go ahead and do that. That's perfectly fine with me. It's just, I'm just saying, saving advertising costs, interview process, and all. I don't get emotionally involved with hiring third-party entities. I just want somebody that understands service, understands what we do, is compliant, that we're compliant with the Department of Labor and Industry for having building codes in our respective boroughs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I personally think that it's a wonderful idea. It looks like someone from the audience has a question. So let's take that. Mr. Wharf or Rhoda, I'm not sure which. Donald or Rhoda Wharf. You need to unmute yourself.
There.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Rhoda Wharf, 636 3rd Street in Verona. Scott, we're talking about an inspector. Is it that difficult to find somebody like we had Mark that was qualified in so many areas can we not find somebody that has those kind of qualifications that we can't share services between Verona and Oakmont, not just inspection, but code enforcement, because that is so crucial. That can turn a municipality overnight into something very negative. Is that not something you're looking at, or like, what are your thoughts?
Typically, the paradigm I come from is if everyone likes your code officer, it means that person's not doing their job. I can tell you right now, the city of Latrobe and the township of Derry just went into an agreement to share an employee because they couldn't find anybody.
Okay.
The town of McCandless is trying to find somebody to hire just to do code enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
UCC is a specific skill set with specific hours of certification,
mm-hmm.
recertification, just in construction and plan review, not high grass, not you have a junk car, that sort of thing. I was a UCC inspector
mm-hmm.
for my first 13 or 15 years of my career. They changed all the rules. And I was like, you know what? This is a little bit more challenging being a borough manager and township manager than doing this than it was before. You can certainly retain somebody on staff to do code enforcement, or the old term used to be called zoning officer back then. That's still somebody who looks at plan reviews and says your project meets or does not meet the borough code, can issue enforcement notices for high grass, dilapidated fences, get the junk vehicle out of the driveway, that sort of thing. The skill set for UCC is very technical in nature. I looked at municipalities of my size in ALOM, the Allegheny League of Municipalities. You'd have to be prepared to pay somebody in the $50,000 to $65,000 range plus benefits.
See, I just, maybe I'm more positive in thinking or not. I mean, we never really advertised for anyone. Like I said, inspections are one thing. I think they're very important, but code enforcement for our municipality is of utmost importance. Making sure that our properties are up to code, because we have a lot of rentals, and a lot of these rentals are out of town owners. And I don't think, and I think that if we start slacking off, as far as I'm concerned, I think we need to be more stringent with our enforcement, but that's me. It concerns me. Like I said, inspections are important. I love the idea of sharing services. I'm into consolidation, number one, but I don't know what to say. I'm just concerned that I wish we could find somebody that can do everything. So, and I wish, I would hope that other council members would feel the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that I guess I can just speak for myself. I agree. It would be nice to be able to find somebody to do everything. And that is, as Dave was asking Scott, it is in there. Like if someone comes along who is able and willing to do all of that, then, they'd probably go to the top of the list. But my understanding, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, the UCC inspector is really, it's required that we have that person for our town. While the other stuff is, while it is very important to have a code enforcer and a zoning officer, it's not mandated by the state for us to have that. Is that correct?
No, you can certainly even appoint, I know you're looking for a full-time manager position. You can certainly, it's a title, it's an appointed position. You can certainly have the new borough manager also be the zoning officer. That's the individual who's going to look at a drawing and say, you know what, this deck as proposed meets the setbacks. We'll send your plan off to the UCC inspector for plan review for construction and building permit. Or the fence or the shed, which is not under the UCC purview, but it is a zoning permit issued by the borough. That can be an in-house project or in-house assignment to the borough manager. I don't disagree about the component of planning or code enforcement. I came from Pine 13 years ago, and caustic was a word that I had to learn because I was very caustic when it came to code enforcement. Acidic. People didn't like me, but I had a job to do. I just find it interesting that within less than 1 month period of time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 communities are looking for new code enforcement officers because they all quit.
Okay.
I just said but if the entities that I interview or we interview together provide a component on a per hour basis, I'm okay with that. I'm probably gonna be doing the zoning review for projects anyways, because that's my background by training to save time and effort. But that's if somebody calls me and says, hey, what's the setback for a shed on my property? I'm gonna do the research and give that information to the homeowner. I'm not gonna wait till they submit a plan and send it off to UCC for review or something like that. No, I don't disagree with anything the one speaker did about code enforcement. That's my paradigm is good code enforcement. And I don't take it lightly that I'd either do it in-house or with a third party. If the third party doesn't meet my expectations, then I'd go a different direction with the code enforcement component.
Right. So I think at this point, in order to meet the state mandate of having a UCC inspector, that it would be good for us to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity with Oakmont. And then maybe we get lucky and we get somebody who can also do the other things. Or maybe we get lucky with our borough manager who can do some of that work. You know, you just never know what'll come along. But for right now, this is what we have in front of us. And I'd like, if other people on council are in agreement, I'd like to take a motion to accept Scott's offer to keep us on that RFP. So
Nancy, real quick, kind of to address Rhoda's comment, I think, you know, if I remember and understand correctly, we had Mark doing code enforcement and property maintenance, and Keith was here doing the building inspection, or at least commercial building inspection. Is that correct?
Yeah, Keith was only doing commercial because Mark didn't have that certification, is my understanding, but he was able to do every other kind of inspection.
Yeah. So I think, you know, we had 2 different people to kind of cover our bases on all of that. I think to try to find one person that would cover all of it, you know, commercial, residential, building inspection, as well as property maintenance and code enforcement, I think we'd be hard pressed to do that. And I think, you know, what Scott presented as far as us combining, you know, volume of building inspections to try to, you know, leverage the market on that, I think is a good opportunity. Now, the fact that it's an option for the contractor to provide property maintenance and code enforcement services, we can evaluate that when the proposals come in and decide whether or not we want to include that. I mean, I think it's totally up to, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but it'll be totally up to Verona whether we want to take on only UCC services or also, you know, additional optional property maintenance and code enforcement services. So
I would word it as being an option that either municipality can accept on their own accord.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if we want to also simultaneously look for a potential, you know, in-house employee to do property maintenance and code enforcement, we can, you know, just to get an idea of what that, you know, whether that's a possibility. I mean, you know, once Mark's gone, we have nothing. So I think we got to start with at least with the UCC component and utilize that opportunity.
Yeah, I also think I forgot to mention, and then Mike, you know, you'll be next, of course. And then I'm not sure whether Donald or Rhoda did their hand go down and come back up, Dave? Okay, so after Mike, then we'll take the comment from either Donald or Rhoda, probably Donald. But anyway, one of the reasons we're doing this is because Mike has let us know that, I mean, Mark has let us know that he is going to be leaving the borough. March 15th is the date that he gave me today. There is maybe a little bit of wiggle room depending on what's going on. So we won't have anybody here, and we may not by March 15th, but this RFP is about to go out. So we could at least have that requirement met pretty soon thereafter, after Mark is gone, to have at least a building inspector. And of course, we're going to keep looking for however we can fulfill that other, those other positions of code enforcement and zoning officer. Anyway, I wanted to just mention that's why this is sort of something we need to do sooner rather than later. Go ahead, Mike, and then Donald.
Thank you. So I look at this as a kind of a positive thing. It's even if we had someone just for the UCC, that person, it's fee based. There's no cost to the borough, right? And that's right. Concentrate on that, on the building and the concerns there. This will give enough time for another person, if we need another person to do zoning and code enforcement and the inspections and things like that. That person can then, just like we have now, or maybe even better, is that person can actually concentrate even better, more on that, and so that we would have a better code enforcement officer for that. If we happen to have, like Dave says, if this person can do all of it, then it's a win-win-win situation. So I think we do go for this, and with the idea of keeping our eye open and be very actively pursuing other, Mark replacement.
Thanks, Mike. Donald or Rhoda, did you guys want to add another comment?
Yes, I do. It's Rhoda Wharf, 636 3rd Street in Verona. Whatever your decisions may be, I really would like to stress, we need to have a job description and evaluations and something that we can all agree on. I mean, we all agree that yes, both municipalities need a code enforcer / inspector and what have you, but it would really be good. Now, Scott, do you have a job description already written up, or? Scott?
Sorry, I muted myself.
It's okay.
For code officer?
Well, for the step one, yes.
Well, for UCC, it's really the state law essentially says what the job description of a UCC plan review and inspector is.
Okay.
You have no control over that. So unless you're going to hire somebody specifically on staff, the job description is the act that created the position of UCC and the BCO, the building code official. If you can say, Scott, do you have a job description for the individual who is doing the code enforcement of the borough, whether it be high grass, property maintenance, or so on? I have several, yes. In fact, one was just issued to me or provided to me, yesterday.
Okay. Are you going to, how exactly are you going to advertise it? Specifically just for one? Or are you, because you're saying it would be great if we could have like a multiple talented person?
Multiple talented firm.
Okay. Are you going to advertise this, or how are we going to do this? I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm for consolidation.
Right now I have 5 or 6 entities in the region that do this for other municipalities. I was going to send them directly RFPs.
Okay.
And then throw a copy in the Valley News Dispatch, which is our legal paper. Remember, it's professional services. You can reach out to anybody you want. You don't necessarily have to advertise it.
Correct.
And again, the caveat is you're finding a firm to meet the requirements of the building code of the Commonwealth that you have a BCO on retained in some way, shape, or form. We're asking for the convenience of them also doing property maintenance
Right.
At least letting us allow us to consider property maintenance and code enforcement.
Okay, great. I think it sounds fantastic. I'm very excited about the idea. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Foddy? Okay, is anybody willing to make a motion for this?
I'll make a motion that we have joint RFP for the UCC inspector.
I'll second that.
Okay, first by Mr. Forbeck, second by Mr. Matlin. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, fantastic. And I assume, Scott, that if anybody has any further questions, that they could call you or get in touch with you at the Oakmont Borough office.
They can. If you want to centralize everything through you, Nancy, as president council, that is fine.
And also, I noticed you guys are having a meeting next Tuesday
Yep.
at the same time, 7 o'clock, I think.
Yes.
So anybody had any other questions, wanted to hear more? And you guys have your meetings in person, correct?
We are in person and online. We have a couple council members who stay home for safety reasons, but we'll be streaming online. But if anybody says from Verona Council, hey, can I have a Zoom invite, I'll send you one.
All right, well, I'll get the Zoom link from you and I'll post it on the Facebook page and so people can, you know, if they want to go, they can maybe sign in on Zoom.
Okay.
All right. Thanks very much,
Okay,
Scott. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You'll have a good evening.
Thanks, Scott.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we have another guest this evening, and that's Curtis Brown regarding our text message service. So I'd like to ask him to unmute and tell us what's happening there.
Okay, hello everyone. It's Curtis Brown. I'm at 6708 East Pier Vista, Verona, PA 15147. Here is an update regarding the messaging over the past year. The numbers have gone down some. We were up close to around 700 signups. It has gone down. I believe some of the neighboring communities, when we first started, were excited about the information, but over time, the interest has waned. So it's just gone down to some of more just residents, basically. We've been hovering around between 380 and 400 subscribers, which is still good for Verona. For the past year, we sent out 61 text blasts. And so we're averaging around 25,000 outgoing messages per year. And as you know, it covers everything that we do here in Verona. So that information is still going on a regular basis. The reason for the information today, there is some technology that's changing with the text alert arena, and it's driven by the carriers. So anyone who's on the list right now will not have to do anything, but we did want to make you aware of some changes that are coming about. Right now, if anyone signs up, they take their phone and they text the word Verona to the number 21777. That number 21777 will have to change, and we will have Verona registered for its own number. That new number will be a 10-digit number, so that'll be a longer number to remember. But the carriers are moving to what's called a 10DLC situation. So we're going to move that in the next, I would say, month or so. This is once again largely being driven by the carriers. So they're calling the shots on how they want companies like ours to interact with the end user, which are you guys are the residents in this case. So we will keep you abreast as we move information along. We will need additional information from the borough so we can provision your own number. We will do that over the next several weeks. What will happen is the way the messages go out will stay the same. The information the individuals get will be the same. What will change is the number that is sending the information. So if you have the 2177 saved in your phone, or residents have it saved in their phone, that number will change to a 10-digit number. So there's several things that will happen on our end and Verona's end. So we will, via Facebook, via the community, the Verona community website, also via text as well, we will send out information that says, hey, residents, the information that you receive from Verona will be coming from a new number. So we will let everyone know that the number will change, and we can also put that in the newsletter. And I can talk with Steel City Billboards so they can put the information up across from get-go as well to let residents know that the number is changing. Once again, everything else will stay the same, but that actual 10-digit number will be changing in the next, I would say, month to 2 months, based upon the timeline that the carriers have given us. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm not sure if Donald Wharf's hand is up again or if that's left over.
It's up again.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Rhoda War, 636 3rd Street. Curtis, I love your service. I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to strongly urge you, if you'd be kind enough to write an article, because our newsletter will be going out at the beginning of April. This is like very important information that we need to put it out to the public. So would you be kind enough to shoot us an email or an article?
Yes, I can do that. So I can have that to you by the end of next week. Is that good enough timing?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kurt. It's very important because your service is wonderful.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. No problem.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Curtis. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Brown? All right, so Curtis was nice enough to teach me how to do the text messages. We'll see whether or not I can remember the instructions. So.
Nancy, very good student today, by the way. She did very well, but she had a lot of questions, but that's okay.
I did. Everybody knows I always have a lot of questions. Okay, so anybody, wants to consider something for a text, you can just send it to my email or text me and I can try to get it out there. Okay, thank you, Curtis, very much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Here, Curtis.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay if you want to, but you don't have to.
Gotta go. All right.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so those are our guest speakers. And so now we're going to go with Kimberly Roller to review the Garden Club Spring Fundraiser.
Hi guys, Kimberly Roller. Hello, 853 1st Street. I'm a member of the Garden Club, as you can see by the beautiful plants behind me. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about our planned spring fundraiser. So we are hoping to host the fundraiser May 22nd and 23rd from 12 to 4 p.m. every day at Railroad Park. So we wanted to do a few different things this year that we haven't done in the past. We're actually planning to go with a theme this year called Botany and Booze. And we're doing that because we're working on partnering with some of our local breweries in town to offer tastings of some of their brews. And then people can purchase sales to go, not drink it in the park, but they can have it to go as sales. And then additionally, we actually have 2 food trucks lined up. So on May 22nd, we're looking at Pittsburgh Eats. And on May 23rd, we're looking at Revival Chili. So we're trying to really do a larger fundraiser than we have in the past. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about it, see if that was acceptable at the Railroad Park. I had emailed Nancy and Dave earlier and let them know that we had intended to have samplings of alcohol from, a couple of the local breweries, and we're trying to work on a few more. But I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about it and make sure that that was acceptable with you guys.
So yes, and I did check with the solicitor, and I know that we have sometimes have been samplings at the farmers market. So as long as it's just samplings in very small amounts, and then selling closed containers and not drinking on the premises, that is acceptable from a legal standpoint. So I don't know that we need to make a motion for this, just if anybody had any major objections, you know, now's the time. But otherwise,
one thing I did want to mention, so we are planning on maintaining social distance. Everybody will be required to have masks. When you are having your tasting, we're going to ask that you back up from the table and have like a specific spot where you can taste so that we're safe. And then similar to the farmers market where there's, you go through this direction, we're going to try and maintain that same process so that we're safe and we're making sure that everybody's comfortable.
Okay. Well, hopefully the cases of COVID will be way down by May 22nd. And, but I guess we'll be continuing to wear our masks for a while, according to Dr. Fauci. Does anybody have any other comments or questions about this from the council right now?
Thanks, Kimberly. I think this is a great idea. I think we talked about it. You'll be submitting something to Marcia to get it on the calendar and permitted, just so that you guys have the park reserved and there aren't any other events the same day. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't have any issues with it, or there weren't any questions.
What are the hours again? I'm sorry.
The hours are 12 to 4 p.m. And again, that's May 22nd and the 23rd. On the 22nd, we'll have a food truck, PGH Eats with a Z, and May 23rd is Revival Chili. And so far, we have 2 breweries who confirmed that they'll definitely do it, and then there was 1 or 2 that were on the fence.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thanks,
all
guys.
right, thank you so much, Kimberly. I look forward to it.
Everybody buy plants. Have a drink.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Okay, great. So now we have Stephanie Garibay to talk about both a Verona Farmers Market and the mural proposal.
Hello, thanks for having me. So I sent you guys an email with kind of what I would be asking for the farmers market. I think my biggest one is to make sure that I am able to do this. I would like to hold a 50-50 raffle for local organizations in our communities. As we know, that hit everybody really hard, and that really hit our nonprofits, our volunteer organizations. They couldn't really have their fundraisers, and not that this is going to be a big boomer for them, but I would like to show our support for them. If there's any like legal thing, it doesn't have to be through the farmers market, but just this organization can come in and set up to hold a 50-50. I did reach out to several organizations, and they all seem to be on board. So I was just coming here to get your guys' approval for that. And also talk about the funds. I know my last email, we discussed about the funds being absorbed into the general fund for the borough. I would like to see if we can fix that and have a dedicated plan and budget for the farmers market. What we take in is what we keep, so that we can build on that, so that we have savings for the future, for entertainment, advertising, equipment. I did want to ask to get permission to order a pop-up canopy, which would be $150 to $250, have $300 set aside for advertising. And then if you guys were able to take a look at the portable hand washing options, I think that would be really neat to just have at the market when people are touching everything and you're kind of out. So I didn't know if you guys got a look at those options, and if you had any questions or thoughts for me for that.
Well, I appreciate all your input and work on the farmers market, Stephanie. Oh, come back.
Sorry.
I don't know that we can make a decision about anything having to do with a pop-up or advertising or hand washing at this time. We're sort of a little bit in limbo with our financial situation here in the borough. We have to do some more research and find out what exactly our financial position is. It's a little weaker than what we had been led to believe. So I'd like to get back to you on that maybe at the next meeting. And
so the budget that we just approved for $1,200 some for the market is not the budget.
Possibly. And I think we're gonna address this a little bit more as we get into the meeting. Our finance committee chair can talk a little bit more about that, Dave, unless you want to weigh in here right now.
Well, my first thing was, when I saw Stephanie's email, is I wanted to find out what we have been doing in the past as far as the finances for the farmers market. I emailed Jerry, but I did not hear back yet. I'm assuming that it's like other general fund items that, we budget it for the year, and then if we don't spend it, then it kind of just rolls over into reserves or to the capital or to the general fund for the following year. So, but maybe Jerry knows more that he can shed light on that. So I would hope that Jerry could weigh in on that before we, figure out what we're doing for this year. But I think, if I understand correctly, Stephanie, that, you guys collect money from the vendors, correct?
Yeah, so the vendors write a check out to Verona Borough. And so there's money in from last year. And I've got like 3 or 4 vendors already paid now that I have to bring down to Marcia. But I guess I've been asking, I asked last year and that wasn't the response I got. And then I asked this year, and this is now the response I get, that the money that's being taken in from the farmer's market, that's pretty irresponsible. Just flat out irresponsible. That is dedicated to the farmer's market. People come in and they pay that money. And I would expect that goes to the farmer's market. And, now that we budgeted for it and now we're backtracking for how are we backtracking? We all spent time, an entire month, going through the budget, having our questions. I asked specifically about the farmer's market. And now this is what I'm being told. I understand it's not anybody's fault, but that's a little frustrating because I'm putting a lot of time and effort into this, and the market deserves so much more.
Well, yeah, no, I understand, Stephanie, and I agree that the market does deserve more, and I just don't know, without Jerry weighing in and telling us how the funds were tracked or allocated for the past year. I just don't know, whether he has an accounting of the funds left over from last year and can tell us what that amount is. We really need him to weigh in. So I will continue to follow up with him and make sure that he gets us an answer so that we know going into spring what the situation is with the funds. I don't think that we should leave you guys out to, the farmers market out to dry, because you have put in a lot of effort. It's great for the community. The community really enjoys it. I think, I don't know if Nancy meant to sound too alarmist, but I think we can work through it. We just need more input from Jerry. So he unfortunately holds the information that we need on that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think we should take that as a note to the services being provided by our financial director.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. And then as far as the 50-50 goes, is that okay to hold are organizations allowed to come in and hold a 50-50 during the farmers market? Is that okay for them to do?
What's a small game a chance answer to that, Mr. Solicitor?
Do we have a Mr. Solicitor?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Technically, when you do 50-50 and small games of chance, as Mr. Forbeck indicated, you're supposed to get a small games of chance license through the treasurer's office in town. Oftentimes, we've used the chamber to do that because you're required to use a nonprofit organization to get the game of chance. You know, I know that people just do it and hope they don't get in trouble, but the legal answer is that you're required to get a license through the treasurer from a nonprofit organization for a small games of chance license.
Okay, so small games of chance pending, I already knew that. Is it okay for organizations to come in and hold a 50-50 during the farmers market?
Well, I guess I would think as long as they have the license, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be.
I'm just making sure because technically the farmers market is a borough event, so I didn't know if there was some technicalities in there.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not aware of any.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So that's all I have for the farmers market. And now the Verona mural that we are planning on. I'm working with 3 professional artists, 1 from Oakmont and 2 just from the Pittsburgh area. They've given me mock-ups of what they had envisioned for the front wall of the garage. I've sent that to everybody. There's a few more I didn't send, but the plan is to have the high school art students actually design both the front mural for the front of the garage and then the side mural, a reimagination of what we currently have, which says recycling, trash. I think there's going to be compost soon. So we were just kind of wondering if that was a possibility to get done and to continue to plan for. This is in efforts of the 150th celebration. So we thought it would be nice to have for the community and for the students to do, especially the art students who have had a very difficult time doing their art things.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So I think I had a question, Stephanie, when I read your email. The part that's facing the street definitely needs some livening up, and I think it would be nice. Of course, I guess we would have some designs that we would look at and maybe pick from there or something like that. Would that be?
So yeah, yes. So the students would be designing it. And then we can work out specifics on, you know, you guys as council choose what they want, you know, pick a design from the high school students, you know, do the professional artists. Do we get community involvement and say, hey, these are what our students have drawn and designed. What does everybody want to see? So that's all up in the air right now. I've kind of got all my ducks in a row, and those are specifics that I'm hoping to work on once I get your guys' approval to continue moving forward.
Okay, the other question that I had was, I think the way you stated it in your email was reimagining the mural that's on the side of the building that faces the parking lot. I wasn't really clear what that meant.
That meant getting rid of what's currently there, but replacing what it, like right now, there are signs for recycle and signs for paper and signs for glass and recycle, or, you know, whatever is on the side right there, and just have the students come up with a different design that still says recycle, trash, paper, compost, you know, whatever you guys would want. And really that can be, you guys can say, hey, we're not going to do paper or glass anymore. Can you just do recycle, trash, and compost?
Okay. I have a different recollection. I could be wrong, but I thought there was a mural on that side of the building. I don't remember there being signs on the wall that say recycling and stuff like that.
That's what the mural is. The green vine.
Yeah.
Each circle has like paper or trash or glass or some kind of indicator of what can is below.
Okay. So are they gonna redo it or use what's already there and add to it?
They're gonna redo it.
Okay. All right. Those are my questions. Anybody else on council have any questions? Or when would you be doing this?
So the painting part would happen the weekend of the 150th celebration, September 18th and 19th, that Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's plenty of time. And I think Rhoda may have a question about this project.
Rhoda, can you hear me?
Yep.
636 3rd Street, Verona. Stephanie, that mural that you were making reference to on the side of the Borough building, my husband and my sister paid $1,000 to have that done when recycling first came to Verona. The artist was Ed Rickus. He was an artist from my gallery. I don't know why you have to do both sides of the building and can't be happy with just the one side. I think the ideas are great that you're having students do it, but I don't know.
That was the part of the community collaborative part, because the students aren't actually going to be painting a professional mural on the front of the garage. And we're going to get an opportunity to practice their mural techniques that they got.
And they can't do that on just the one side of the building?
No, because that part of the building is going to be painted by the professional muralists.
All right, fine. Well, I'm disappointed because I spent $1,000 on that, you know, for the community.
Why can't?
If you feel that strong about it, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, would you like $1,000?
You want to give it back?
Why can't you? Why can't you implement what's on there already into a new mural?
I mean, we could do that too.
Well, that's why I was asking about the word reimagining. If you could just take what's there, not get rid of it, and just add to it.
Yes, we could do that.
Whatever you're most
maybe
comfortable.
do below the.
I don't want to throw a hanger in your plans. Whatever.
No, and that's a great thing that you brought up, because I didn't know who did that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that came out of somebody's personal pocket. But when it comes down to it, you know, we can work around it.
But again, you do what you feel comfortable doing. I just thought to mention that. That's all, because I'm not sure that many people realized that was done by us. But that's fine. Whatever you're comfortable with is fine.
Yeah, no, we will make it work so that we can just keep that up there and then have the students work underneath it and just add to it. Maybe they can add to it underneath each circle and give, like, you know, I don't know. There's so much space on that wall that we can do whatever.
That's fine. Oh yeah, that's good. That sounds like, listen, all these ideas are wonderful. You know, kudos to all of you. Very good. Right.
Thanks, Rhoda.
It sounds like a nice compromise, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nothing's set in stone, so we can really do whatever.
Right. And I just wanted to say, Stephanie, about the farmers market. I'm not saying that there's nothing available. I'm just saying, give us a couple more weeks and get back to you on March 9th, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
So are we down with the mural, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Something like this, I'm not sure that we need to have a motion for. Craig, can you weigh in on that?
Is the borough spending money?
No.
Then you don't need a motion.
Okay.
Okay.
We will
I don't
deface
think
borough property.
there's no major objections. We're just going to tweak how you're going to do the side of the building, and in the front, I imagine it'll be beautiful facing the street. That'll be great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for your creativity.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Rhoda. Sorry to piss on your parade on that one. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephanie. I think it's a great project.
All right, wonderful. Okay, that takes care of the registered comments. And at this point, I'd like to ask if anybody has any additional agenda items that maybe didn't make it on the list that they need to add to their agenda list at this time. I'm going to add tree trimming to my agenda items. It's something that came up today. Okay, at this point, we will hear comments on all agenda items. Please raise your virtual hand and clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes as much as possible. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands going up. Give people a minute to find it. There we have Kim Roller.
Hi guys. So I wanted to bring up, since Nancy said that she did add it to her agenda item, the tree trimming. So as some of you, I mean, everybody knows, I'm a member of the Shade Tree Committee. I was notified that the tree pruning did occur. So I went down to look on East Railroad and on Allegheny River Boulevard. And I want to say that I'm really, really disappointed in the job that was done. I have a couple questions about the job that was done. I know that in the original contract, we were supposed to have an ISA certified arborist. I don't believe that that was the case. If you go down and you look, especially on East Railroad, as you go down, most, if not all, of the central leaders were removed on those trees. And if you do that on a tree, that's called topping. So that causes weak structural damage, injury, damage to the tree. It makes it more susceptible to insect attacks. And a lot of these trees might not make it because of the trimming that was done. The rule is also that if you remove more than 20 to 25% of the tree leaves, you can also kill the tree, and that will be fatal for the tree. I want to bring up that I think that maybe there was an arborist on Allegheny River Boulevard, because that was not performed on those trees, but on East Railroad it was. The trees look lopped off. They aren't visually appealing, but we really did do what I believe is irreparable damage to these trees. So I think we need to have a conversation about the process that was done by the people who pruned the trees. And I think we need to start looking at action to understand what they did, because this could potentially cause a serious issue with our contract with Tree Pittsburgh. You know, they could look at this and say that we're not taking care of our trees appropriately and no longer support us in our endeavors to add trees in Verona.
Okay. All right, Kim, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think there'll be more conversation on this. Let's see. I think Laura has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why Zoom won't let me raise my hand. I feel like such a Luddite. I've been Zooming for a year and, you know, whatever. I've been trying. I'm sorry, guys. Here, I'll start my video. Here I am. Yeah, Laura Jacko, 437 North. I don't even know what to say about the tree situation. I don't know if anybody's been down on East Railroad today to look. The main Allegheny River Boulevard is okay. There are some issues with the tree trimming that was done there. However, the trees on East Railroad and on, I think it was James Street or James Way, are so, well, first of all, they're pruned completely out of spec. So the spec that Dave and I worked on and the information that I provided him, the information that was provided to them on the bid, has not been followed very clearly. I have photos of things that they did that were specifically on the bid from what I see, from what I saw that was on there, that were not done or that were done improperly. And they, like for example, like Kim had mentioned, they, in many cases, removed a very large chunk of the tree canopy, which will make it very difficult for the tree to recover properly, if at all. Some of these, a large amount of tree canopy was removed on the small trees, which will make it very difficult for those trees to recover. The pruning was done in such a way that, so essentially they lopped off a lot of branches straight in the middle of the branch, which you're really not supposed to do. The way it was done will make it so that over time, the ends of those branches are going to sprout out like in a very weird, bushy sort of fashion, in which we will need to get professional pruning done to try and undo some of that damage, probably for years to come. So this company has caused us fiscal damage to these trees because they will need to be professionally pruned by another company. If they are to survive at all. I frankly don't know with some of these. As Kim had mentioned, the leader. So that's like for some of the trees that were done, the way that they grow is in a kind of like a point. You've probably seen that in trees where like there's one main branch and trunk that goes up the whole way. And this main part of the tree was removed, which means that it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for that tree to maintain its shape or its correct growing pattern forever. The trees that are outside of the borough building, a large amount of the canopy was removed on them. I'm very, very sad because we worked so hard to try and make this happen. I know that it is a fact that an ISA certified arborist was supposed to be present for each of these trees that were pruned. I highly doubt that that was the case. I am very concerned that this company has obviously and evidently, with the pictures I have taken, gone outside of what they were contracted to do. They did it incorrectly. But also, like, I would really like to see their ISA certifications and proof that there was a certified arborist present for every tree that was done the way it was supposed to be. I am, like I said, I'm completely gutted because you know how much these trees mean to me. We and many community members have spent a really long time and a lot of effort in our personal lives to really care for them very properly, and they've been absolutely ruined to the point where I don't know that this damage can be repaired. I think that legal action should be taken against this company. We should absolutely not pay them for these quote unquote services. I have heard that they have offered to maybe come back and fix it, but frankly, I do not want these people touching our trees ever again. These people shouldn't be allowed to go near trees, much less touch the ones in Verona. We need someone who really knows what they're doing to maybe try and do what we can to fix them later, but I just, this is going to be a problem, and maybe we need to get Craig involved, honestly. Like I said, I'm just really personally very, very sad and very upset and frankly embarrassed because our rep for Tree Pittsburgh lives in Oakmont. He's going to see these. I'm going to need to get his opinion on what we can do to maybe try and fix some of these. I have been telling Tree Pittsburgh, you know, for the last 2 years that I've been on the Shade Tree Commission, how good of a job we're doing, how we're getting this professional help to water the trees, how we're getting like real people to come in and prune them, and how we're really just trying to make this more of a thing. We've really had like this great relationship, and I'm very concerned that this is also going to cause severe and irreparable damage to our relationship with a granting nonprofit that grants us these trees for free as well. Like, these people are coming in this spring and planting 21 trees for free for us, you know, in cribs. I don't really know what's to be done, but something needs to be addressed here. To say that I'm severely disappointed is a real understatement. I may have yelled early. I may have yelled at Nancy earlier. I may have put down the phone and just yelled because I was so upset. And I might cry, and I'm just gonna try not to cry in front of everybody here. But something really needs to be severely addressed, and this needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay, yes, it seems like a pretty serious situation, and I have added it to my agenda item. So at that point, we'll discuss it, and there'll be time for comments after the meeting if necessary.
Thanks for putting on the agenda. I know it kind of just came up, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, in the meantime, I just wanted to remind everyone in the audience who's not on the council, if you could please turn your video off and mute yourself when you're not speaking. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, I don't see any more hands up for comments. And like I say, we'll get to the trees in a few minutes. All right. In lieu of any comments, we'll continue on. Everybody got a copy of the meeting minutes. I think there might have been one change, Trish, that you were emailing Marcia about. I forget what it was.
Just clarifying that we don't have to change back to 5 members on the shade tree. It stayed at 5 members, so there's no change needed.
Okay. So with that correction, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from February 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 9th.
Okay, thanks.
Second.
Any questions or comments at this point? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Several days ago, probably last week sometime, I sent out to everybody a proposed protocol, COVID protocol that thanks to Trish, she sent us a really thorough first draft of a COVID protocol. And at this point, I'd like people to weigh in on their opinions about that and what we want to keep, if there's anything we want to change with this protocol. And one thing I just wanted to mention, not quite sure that we would be able to follow the taking the temperature of everybody who walks in the building.
That wasn't a requirement. It was just to have a thermometer available for anyone who may want to check their temperature throughout the workday.
Okay, all right, that's very different than I read that a different way. Okay. Otherwise, we have in the meantime purchased large jugs of hand sanitizer with pumps, thanks to AJ. So they are available now. There's 2 in the chamber, 1 at the window for the office and 1 at the window for the police. And I asked Marcia about purchasing some wipes, which I think she already has, and some extra couple boxes of masks, or at least 1 box for now, I don't know. So anyway, I think she's going to take care of that. So that kind of also morphs into the conversation about opening the building and whether or not people feel we should look to do that as of March 1st. Do you want to wait? You know, do you want to have this protocol be, you know, our protocol and adopt it? What are people's thoughts about this?
Personally, I think we could probably open it because you figure you got the borough office that has glass and everything there. You got the police side that has glass and everything there. And if everybody wears their masks and we have our jugs of sanitizer, I don't see a problem with opening the borough building. It's just my 2 cents worth.
And when we
I
say,
agree.
Okay, when we say open,
right, I was going to ask what you mean by open.
Building, yeah, exactly. Trish, we're on the same. Yeah. What do we mean by that? I mean, we don't want just people coming in. It would be for a specific purpose. And, you know, we haven't had people using the chamber for meetings, except for back in the spring. I think the Planning Commission used the chamber. So
I'm talking as far as just opening up for regular borough business. If somebody needs to see Marcia or the police, I mean, we can discuss down the road as far as opening chambers up. But as far as somebody needing to come in and see Marcia, getting a permits or whatever they need to do, pay a fine with the police. I'm talking just them two, you know, them two offices at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I like that. Yeah.
I agree. I don't think there's any need that I know of to open the chambers at this point. But I agree with Ray that if it's open, you know, I know right now the inside door is locked to the public, you know, police and Marcia and whatnot can get in. But I think if we open that door during business hours and allow people to go in and pay a fine or get a permit, ask a question, I don't see any issue with that. I think my only comment about the protocol or policy that Trish came up with, which I think is great. I appreciate that, Trish. Is that we just make sure we get the supplies like the sanitizer and stuff available that's mentioned in there. So I think once we do that, I have no problem with any of that.
Well, the sanitizer is there. I'll check with Marcia tomorrow about masks. And
we may need to buy a bottle of sanitizer spray to wipe down, like and also with paper towels, you know, for surfaces that have been touched.
Yeah,
that was my comment too. I think that there was the protocol was good. There also needed to be something of us sanitizing areas too that maybe in contact or a person might have had.
Clorox or Lysol wipes or whatever Marcia can come up with.
You can get a solution and dilute it and just have a couple of spray bottles with a couple of cloth rags that just spray your doorknobs and stuff and wipe them down.
Mm-hmm. The wipes, they get expensive, so.
I'm sure Adler's has some type of disinfectant you can mix up and put in a sprayer.
Okay.
They can just make an appointment and come in too, Nancy.
They could, and that it might be a little cumbersome. I don't know. I think if it would be for something that's going to take a long time, maybe make an appointment, but for just to pay a fine or to drop off a document with Marcia at the office, I think it's okay just to come in.
Okay. Just
so I think, you know, yeah, thanks, Sylvia. I don't think we need a motion for this, just consensus that we all agree that this is a good idea to open the building. Say, do we want to make it as of March 1st or as of tomorrow?
Put it up as of tomorrow.
We have the supplies, do it tomorrow, if not March 1st.
All right, good idea. Okay. So I'll check with Marcia to see if we have the supplies, and I'll let everyone know by email. Does that sound good?
Yep. Sounds
okay,
good.
So as far as the protocol, do we want to adopt this protocol to be our official protocol? Did everybody get a chance to look at it carefully and read it? Any objections to adopting Trish's protocol for Verona's protocol for COVID?
No objections.
Okay. And again, we're not spending any money, but Craig, I just want to double check with you. Is there any reason we would need to make a motion for this to adopt a protocol?
I don't think so. It's just a policy. Did we make a motion to close the building, or was that just a directive?
That was a directive because the at the time it was sort of a urgent situation at the time.
We don't need a motion to open it then as well.
Okay, so we're just agreeing that we're adopting the protocol as written and distributed that came from Trish, and that we're going to open the building as soon as we have the supplies that we need as directed by the protocol.
Sounds good.
All right, great. Okay, the next decision that we need to make is about our cleaning service for the building. Lots of cleanliness going on around here. So I don't know, maybe Trish, I think you have a summary with the most recent proposals. Can she share screen, Dave?
Yeah, I just enabled it, Trish, so you should be able to share. I figure if you want to present that.
Okay.
So we have 6 proposals for cleaning of our borough building. They range in cost from approximately $5,000 to about $15,000 for comparable services. While we may be inclined to go with the lowest person, who is local, unfortunately, she does not carry any insurance. She's literally a one-woman operation, but she does currently clean Oakmont's borough building, and Scott Fody did recommend her. After that, our next 2 lowest bidders are in the $7,000 range. I have checked the references for the lowest 5 proposals. So you should all have those proposals in your inbox as well. Dave so kindly added some additional terms and exceptions over here, as well as some notes. So what questions or comments do you all have?
Trish, real quick, who were the references for Ross Maintenance?
It was an office building, I believe in Aspinwall,
okay,
or RIDC Park across the river.
Okay. And did you speak with them, or did someone else speak with them and talk to the reference?
Yes, I spoke with them. I spoke with all of them, but that's a good point. So Ross Maintenance, they all had great references, but Kirkman in particular, their reference was the Mount Lebanon Municipal Building. So for what it's worth, it was the most directly related reference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was a positive reference?
Glowing, yes. They mentioned their only regret was not being able to extend their contract beyond 3 years.
Wow. They did clean the building last week for $100, and I met them, and the guy was really nice. The only thing I'm unclear about is if these proposals will include cleaning the bathroom in the garage and doing the history room once a month. And that they can clean it later in the day, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, so unfortunately, Linda's must come during the day because she cleans Oakmont's borough building in the evening, but the other proposals are all willing to come at 4 p.m. or later.
Okay. Do we know about the other stuff?
Yeah, I think Trish, sorry, I was just gonna say, I think they all should be including in their bid or their proposal to do the History Center once a month, but I don't know, I don't remember, Trish, if there was anything about that bathroom. Do you remember?
It was a little vague to me as well, Dave. I was kind of assuming, since the same staff had showed everyone around, that they all had the consistent viewing of the borough building, but some of them say restrooms. but they don't specifically spell out that it does include the two, or if it's just generically saying restrooms. So I would suggest that we spell this out in detail to the bidder of interest and make sure that that's on there. And as long as the price doesn't change significantly, then we still continue with them.
Yeah, so it does look like Ross is the lowest bidder by like $420 over the course of a year. I really like Kirkman though, so I don't know. What are other people thinking?
What is the column that says level? Is that their insurance or? Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. So Ross says yes, but no level of insurance. Or those the two below there?
They have it. I'm pretty sure they said it was also 1 million, but I wanted to confirm that.
I mean, I will say I think that it's probably a good idea to get someone with liability insurance. I know Linda's cleaning had a good reference from Scott right next door in Oakmont, but she also wouldn't be able to come in the evening like we were looking for. But I do think, given that it's the police station, there's borough records there, there's, you know, I think it would be good for this type of work or position to have the firm to have liability insurance. So I think
one question also is if they will obtain their FBI background check. They don't have it apparently.
Right.
And Kirkman
does.
Kirkman does.
Oh, I see. And when it says about being bonded, I thought being bonded meant having insurance. Is that a different thing?
Yeah, Nancy, that's typically for, I think Trish and I talked about this after we put it out. We had put something in the scope of services about, you know, are you insured and bonded? And, you know, insurance is liability insurance. It covers, you know, X dollar amount if, you know, something happens, they do property damage or something in the course of their work. A bond typically is, you know, on a construction contract, you know, maybe with like the Cribs Pavilion, there'd be a performance bond that's basically, it's a kind of a form of insurance. Craig, you can jump in if I'm incorrect here, but it's basically to ensure that the contractor completes the work so that they don't get halfway through a construction project and go bankrupt or walk away from the job. And then you have, you know, a public safety hazard or something like that. And I think even though we collected that information on some of the cleaning services here, I think Trish and I talked about it and didn't really feel that a bond was necessary in this case, because if a cleaning person or a cleaning firm walks away from a job, it's not the same as a construction contract.
Yeah, that's what you're referring to is called a performance bond. Mm-hmm. Guarantee their performance. When I heard you say that were they bonded and had insurance, you know, that triggered in my mind somebody that handles money being bonded, but that's not what you were referring to. You were talking about to guarantee the performance of their work, which is a performance bond, and that's on large construction projects and things like that. Not something like this.
So it's really not something that's necessary for this situation, but we do want them to have the insurance.
Correct.
And according to what I'm seeing on this chart, Kirkman already has the FBI background check. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
Well, honestly, my vote's going to be for just $400 over the course of 12 months. My vote's going to be for Kirkman.
Well, can we make a motion?
Well, yeah, I just want to make sure there's plenty of time for everyone to ask questions but sure, someone go right ahead, make a motion, sure.
I'd like to make a motion since Kirkman has everything that we requested and required, and everything that we've asked for. I'd like to make a motion that we go with Kirkman Building Services for our cleaning services at the Borough Building, providing they're willing to do the Borough Garage and the
bathroom.
The bathroom. I mean, and the center.
The history room.
History room. Thank you.
Oh, got it. Yeah, the history room once a month and the bathroom in the garage. Yes, got it.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. Any second?
I will second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, what would,
I have a question.
Oh.
you know what the duration of this would be? This contract, establish that, or do we need to establish that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear because Sylvia had a question and you had a question simultaneously, Dave.
Go ahead, Sylvia.
Thank you. Nancy, how many times a week are Kirkman Company scheduled for? Once a week or twice?
Well, that'd be a question for Trish and Dave, but I'm pretty sure it's twice.
I believe we're both twice a week.
It says twice on the chart.
Important is to have twice a week. We don't have that many people in the building. And since we're kind of in a crunch financially, do we want them twice a week?
You still need to have things cleaned.
Bathrooms.
Yeah, and with more people being able to come into the building, I think it is important, even, you know, if the second cleaning may be a little, you know, not as thorough, not as necessary for them, you know.
I believe with all the COVID stuff and everything going on, the way the numbers are starting to fall, I think by the summer, our numbers are going to be down. We're going to be able to open a borough building more unless we have a spike, I think. So I just think we should go with the twice a week and be done with it.
The only reason I brought it up, Ray, was because I thought we had such light traffic in there. That's all. But if you feel twice a week is a good idea. I only thought because traffic is very light.
Yeah, it is now. You're right, Sylvia. But I do think it's going to increase when we get to the farmer's market, which I know is several months away. Then people will be using the bathrooms, and we definitely want them cleaned twice a week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once it goes back to some norm.
Yeah. I just think it's too hard to do it one way now and another way later, and then it gets confusing. Okay. What is it? Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
I mean, I think regardless of whether the public is using the bathrooms, we have, you know, at least a dozen staff members or so that use this building.
Absolutely.
The police department, Marcia, you know, Mark, I know Mark's leaving in March, but, you know, future borough manager, future code enforcement. I think it will continue to see a little bit more use as we get into summer and more people are vaccinated, but the police are using it. I think the police and Marcia and the public works crew, I think they all deserve, you know, clean and proper facilities. So I think this is just, if I remember correctly, this is in line with the cost we paid for the gentleman who previously serviced our building. If I remember correctly, it was right around the $7,000, and I think they were doing it two times a week. So we were trying to just match the services that we had before. So, you know, I appreciate this idea to try to, you know, save some money, but I think it's important to keep a clean facility.
Absolutely.
The previous guy was a little bit less, but not by that much.
Dave, I didn't mean it that it wasn't deserving of those people having it clean. That wasn't the point at all. So I don't want to take it that way. I just was looking at it, I guess, on a financial end. That's all. But I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
I understand the point here now. If we're going to, before the building was closed, so now it's going to be open. That's fine. We can do 2 days a week. I don't have a problem with that.
So all those, if questions or comments are finished, all those in favor of hiring Kirkman Services for our cleaning people, please say aye.
Did we have, did we have another question by
I'm
Dave?
sorry.
I think
yes.
There was a question about the terms.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
Just, yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, just what's the length? Are we letting this contract for a length of a specific length of time, or is it just open ended, or do we need to have a duration even?
So I would recommend that we lock them in at the lower rates for more than 1 year, like other municipalities have done. It will increase a couple percentage points in the second year, but overall, I think it saves a lot of time from having to do this annually, and most likely other proposals are likely to go up.
Yeah, I would recommend a 2-year contract, and if you wanted to, you could even include in there somehow an option to renew for another 2 years.
So, Craig, is that something that you do to write up the contract? How does that happen?
I'd be happy to do it. You just give me the contact information for Kirkman. I can put it together, and I don't think they'll have a problem.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you for helping to get the word out and getting some proposals in. A couple people had heard from Craig directly, so thank you. And Sylvia, I heard your comment about Linda saving us money. I had thought about that a lot too, but I do agree with our consensus.
Okay, any other questions or comments about our motion for Kirkman to be our cleaning people? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, wonderful. Motion passed. We will work on getting them started. One question, Craig, I have. Can we still have them come and clean even though the contract isn't set up yet?
Absolutely.
Okay, because, and Trish, did you want to, you or Dave, get in touch with them tomorrow to see whether they can clean again this week? And then start twice a week next, start twice a week next week, okay. And establish, I'd prefer it be either Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Friday, if at all possible. You know, I saw back and forth, I don't know who was saying Tuesday, Thursday. That just seems like there's a big gap then between Thursday and Tuesday with the weekend, you know. So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for everybody's help in this project. The next thing I have on my agenda is PSAB membership. And I think that what we found out was that it's not $125, it's $450. And I think given everything that's, you know, we're aware of here, we can skip that for this year. Is everybody okay with that? So we made a motion to do it. Now we're not going to do it. Does that require a motion to rescind our other motion, Craig, or can we just agree that we're not going to do it?
We're not going to. What are we not doing?
I don't think we made that motion, did we?
Yeah.
We did. I actually was looking at my notes in the minutes. We did make a motion to go ahead and join PSAB, and then we found out that it was $300 more than we thought it was. So now we don't want to join it.
I would rescind that.
Yeah.
So
can we get a person?
Yeah, I don't remember who made the motion.
I believe I made the motion, I believe.
Okay, well, you make most of them, so. You want to go ahead and just, I don't know, rescind your motion for PSAB membership?
I will do that. I will make a motion to rescind my motion to join PSAB at this time.
Okay, thank you. A second for the rescinding?
I'll second that rescind.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just to be clear, this is to not join the PSAB Plus program.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Regular members
Thank
of
you, Dave.
PSAB.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Dave. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. We're done with that. I wrote down here about the salt shed, and I think the company's name is Felino. I don't know that there's anybody here tonight that knows anything about that, but if you do, I'd appreciate. My understanding from Jerry several months ago was that this company, Felino, bought a bunch of property over by Daly's, and that there was some agreement that was going on that they were going to build us a salt shed over there that we could use starting next year. Does anybody know anything more about that right now?
That was all in the talking stages, I thought.
Okay. Mr. Mayor. Okay. Mayor Dave?
Yeah, I don't believe that they said they were going to build us one. They would donate the property only. I believe that's the way it was worded.
Okay. Well, that's not really, I guess this would be, Mike, under your purview. So maybe you could look into this more and find out. Yeah. I think the guys are ready to not share salt with Oakmont. It was getting a little crowded over there when it was snowing a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to suggest that I'll investigate a little bit further. I'll talk to Jerry and find out, or reach out to Felino. I know that they've closed on the property. So I'll do some investigation and report back.
Okay, great. So you'll take care of that. That's wonderful. We've already gone over the code enforcement building inspector situation with Mr. Foddy. So I added about tree trimming, and I'd like to hear people's thoughts about what happened today, including the solicitor. What are our options here? I know that tomorrow, Matt is going to be back in town. The owner of the company is going to be here. I don't know whether the guys are going to be cutting anything else. And if we really, agree that they shouldn't be doing the work on Wildwood, which I don't know if they've done that work yet. I can certainly text Matt tonight and tell him to tell them not to do it. So go ahead.
I think you should text Matt to tell them not to do any further work.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they've already done at least partial work on Wildwood, maybe all of it. I remember him sending out an email last week about them getting flaggers, but I agree with halting any further work until we assess what can be done.
I agree with that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, but he's still going to meet with them tomorrow, right? He told me that he was going to meet with Beaver Jack, and maybe this is Nancy, or I don't know, whoever else can maybe meet with him at the same time.
It depends on when it is for me. I have a couple of appointments tomorrow, but I was available today. Matt, it was miraculous when I called Matt. He happened to be driving into town. Okay, and Kimberly's chatting that they saw the trucks tonight at 6:30 leaving Wildwood. I don't know if they finished up Wildwood or not. I guess the situation on Wildwoods may be slightly different than these very tender trees that were growing on East Railroad, which they did the worst job with. But anyway, I
agree with not doing any more. I agree with it until we figure it out.
I would suggest, I would suggest that Matt and I know I'd have to go through the spec again, but I think if I remember correctly, there's some pretty strict provisions for damage, or there may even be liquidated damages. I'm not sure. I would think that maybe we get with Matt and Craig and figure out what action we can take under the contract. I mean, obviously it's not going to bring back these trees, which is very sad that this occurred. But I think we do need to make sure we protect the borough's interests here and from further damage.
Yeah, I don't know what time with for Matt tomorrow, and the owner, who I think is the arborist or one of the arborists, that were not there today. My understanding is that the contract says that an arborist would be present, and I don't believe there was an arborist present today. The other thing is, I don't know whether anyone from the Shade Tree Commission can join. You know, I can text whoever from Shade Tree, Kim or Laura, if they're available to join us. I may or may not be available. So step one would be to meet with Matt, the owner of Beaver Jack, and whoever else can join in that meeting. As soon as I find out when it's going to be, I'll let people know, and halt or pause any other future work. And then Dave, Mike, Ray, and the solicitor, you know, the Public Works Committee get together with Matt and figure out what the, you know, what our options are. Yeah, because this, it is, I looked at ARB and those trees seem to be okay. It's the ones on East Railroad and the one on South that just look really bad. And I don't know what possessed them to do that. It is sad. I'm sorry to see that.
Yeah, Nancy, if you let me know, I can try to attend. I can't make any guarantees with being during the day in my work schedule, but I'll try if I can. I do think it's a good idea to try to involve the Shade Tree Commission with the meeting tomorrow if they happen to be available, because that is, you know, the Shade Tree Commission is an advisory board, an advisory commission to council, and they do have you know, kind of jurisdiction over the, you know, the public trees, the shade trees, and so they very much should be a part of this. You know, I tried to involve them when we were developing the specs, so I think you know, if Laura or Kimberly is able to.
Kim is saying that they will do their best to make themselves available tomorrow. So I will see if I can find out tonight. I don't know if Matt will still be up, but first thing in the morning at the latest, and find out when that's going to take place.
I can make it too if it's in the afternoon. So. Okay.
Well, yeah.
That's good, Mike, because I think that can build. So if you know, if it's in the morning, I'll try to go, and if it's in the afternoon, you can hopefully attend. So
yeah, and Ray, I don't know if you're available.
I have an appointment tomorrow, but I'm not sure what time. The man's calling me in the morning to let me know. So
all right,
once I know about that, then I can give you a better direction.
Right, I'll just let everybody know, and then whoever can make it, that would be great. And I will include Kimberly and Laura. I think Denise Gemelis is also on the Shade Tree Commission. I would have to, maybe I'll get her number or something and let her know she wants to be part of that. And okay, she is. Laura's saying she's available. Okay, wonderful.
Craig, one question. Can we all be together to do something like that due to the sunshine law?
Well,
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Craig?
You're muted, Craig.
I mean, this is a quasi-judicial sort of thing through the Shade Tree Commission. We're looking at it as its potential. I don't know. It's not really potential litigation, but I mean, it to me it falls within the confines of the Sunshine Law. We can talk about it more in the morning to figure out exactly where, but there has to be a way to get a meeting with these folks together with council.
Okay.
I don't know if we need all. You know, I don't know if we need 4 council members.
Maybe we don't.
No, not necessarily, but it sounds like there's different times that different people are available. And let's just see how it falls out, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. All right, that's it for me. Moving on, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I have a few things here. I guess the bid on the police car closed today at 12 o'clock, and we had 2, 3. We had 6 bids. Some of them bidded twice. Two gentlemen bidded twice, and the highest bid was $2,111 for the 2011 Crown Victoria police car, and it will be sold as is. So the gentleman whose name is Don Belschner, he was the highest bid at $2,111. We're going to need a motion to accept that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Mayor, were the police, I think the light bar or other police items removed from the vehicle?
Yes, I believe everything is stripped down. Everything is stripped down. The lettering is all off also in the stripe.
I talked to the chief today and he said everything was taken off.
Okay.
Also.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
No.
All right,
okay.
thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Who's going to be in charge of letting Mr. Belchner know that he is purchasing the car?
We could get Marcia to give him a call tomorrow. She could set up payment for that.
Okay, and title exchange and all of that?
Right. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, you cut out, Dave. I didn't really hear everything you said.
Yes, I'll take care of that tomorrow. I'll contact Marcia and she can contact the gentleman and they can do the business end.
Usually when you sell a car, don't you have to go to like AAA or somewhere and sign over the title and pay the taxes?
They could go right over to, they could even go right over to Jack Shemp and do the title transfer. Any dealership will transfer it.
There's
or
a
any notary
right on the boulevard in Oakmont there too.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you. Go ahead.
The other thing I have is there's a request for handicap parking on Union Street. 454 Union Street, a Mary Elizabeth Swift. She does have the handicap placard for the license plate on her car. So that would be council's desire to approve it or not.
Dave,
okay.
Placard, or does she have the plate?
She has the license plate.
Okay.
So that would require the street crew to put up a handicap sign and paint the sidewalk blue there in front of her house?
Yes.
Dave, I have a question for you. I noticed around town there's a couple signs that are handicapped that the people unfortunately passed away, but the family still has the signs up. How do we go about, is there someone that's responsible for getting them signs taken down once that handicapped person passed on?
Well, we need to, first of all, we need to know from the family that they passed on.
Right.
You know, how would we know if they have?
Well, you're right, but you just know, like I said, I'm not going to go into names right now, but I know one or two definitely that the person passed on. And I didn't know if that's...
Well, I mean, the street department takes them down if we tell them. If there's no one, if they've passed on, then it's actually not valid anymore.
I'll get with you later on.
Yeah. All right.
So do we need a motion?
We're gonna need a motion.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to have a handicap spot established for Mary Elizabeth Swift on Union Street.
I'll second it.
Okay. First by Mr. Suchovich, second by Mr. Forbeck. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No, no. Motion passed. Okay, go ahead, Mayor.
Right. Thank you. The third item I have is emergency management. Mark Stanton was in charge of emergency management, and we're going to have to replace him as emergency management coordinator. And also, there's several people that were on it. I don't know if the board wants to replace them or ask them if they still want to be on it or look for some new people. That would be up to the board.
Well, my suggestion would be, as I understand it, this emergency management committee, so to speak, can be as big as we want it to be. Right now, the people on it, according to the borough website, are Pat McCarthy, Dom Conti, Tom Teehee, and Rhoda Jamelis Wharf.
Right.
I talked to Rhoda today, and she said she was willing to stay on, and she's willing also to not stay on. But I just want everybody out there in Verona land to know that there's this opportunity to serve on the emergency management team whenever we might have an emergency. So, but I think we should also contact, Tom Teehee and Dom Conti and Pat McCarthy and see if they're interested in continuing. And Dave, you can serve as a temporary coordinator until we figure out who's going to be the new permanent emergency management coordinator. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I was appointed in 2010 to be the coordinator. Then when Mark came on, it just got so overwhelming for me that he took over.
Can you speak a little bit about what's required?
Well, there is some classes you have to take. There's, I believe, a quarterly meeting that you have to go to and to attend as the coordinator, or actually anybody could go as long as somebody goes and relays the messages back. And as far as what you have to do in the borough, in any event, if there's any type of disaster or a threat of a storm or a disaster, the emergency management will meet with, I know I have in the past when Hurricane Sandy came through, I have met with the police department and the fire department. We sat down and just got all our ducks in the row, so to speak, and just in case when the power goes out and the food is, unavailable, because we were getting high winds, close to 75 to 100 mile an hour winds. I think it was back in the early 2000s, I believe it was, but we didn't get hit that bad, but we were prepared along with the fire department and police department if anything did come up. So it's a group effort. And, when I was the head of the head coordinator in Verona, I had told the firemen, I says, look, I don't want to do this by myself. We're all in this as a group and as a community, and everybody agreed, and everybody just pitches in and helps one another. It was pretty well organized. We've had floods, and Raymond can attest to that. He's, the fire chief, and everybody worked together. We've had major fires where the emergency management kicked in, and we went down and got food, for the feed the firemen, like the Moose fire. That was probably what, a 10, 12 hour fire, Ray, I believe. And we've had some other, yeah. So, I mean, there is a little bit of involvement, but there's not a whole lot unless we have something very serious. And it's very rewarding knowing that you're helping everybody and everything's working out, for the good.
There's also certain training that you have to take, that National Incident Management System training and certain levels.
Yes, I've already taken it.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that's going to be on this, that training, there would be different courses that they would have to be taking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's Dave, I think I sent it to you the other day. There's the county has a handbook for emergency management for elected officials that I think we got Mike and Nancy during our local government academy. So I think that has some good guidelines for selecting someone, or what kind of training they can get.
Yeah, they must have come out with that, probably in the last 10, 12 years. I don't remember ever getting that book. I'm sure they had something, but they updated it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think this one was dated 2018, so they may have updated it.
Yeah.
Sign me
That's
up.
pretty much all I have on emergency.
Who said that? Sign you up?
So if anybody would.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, Mike. Excellent. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
The other thing too, Nancy, you went over the COVID-19. I was going to bring some updates, but you had also gone over that, which is fine. And the last thing I have is, I believe several months ago, we hired a new part-time officer, Zachary Janko. I believe it. I may be mispronouncing it. But he will be starting on March 1st. And he will be riding with the police chief. He'll be in training for 3 months, and the chief will do most of the training. Then he'll be, so if you see 2 officers in a car, that's the reason why, if you see them riding around. And he will get all 3 shifts. Once the chief feels he could pass them on to the 2 sergeants on their shifts, they will, and then they'll give a report back to the chief, and then chief and I will sit down and make a final decision when he's ready to go on his own. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Matlin on budget and finance. Pension and grants.
Okay, thanks, Madam President. Just a couple items. Update on the 2020 audit. It's ongoing. I met with the auditor last week. They had already met previously with Jerry. They developed a list of items for Jerry that I saw them send over that need to be provided to complete it. It's pretty standard. It is due April 1st, the DCD report that is what they follow for the audit. And that's they're expecting to wrap it up within a month or so, maybe middle of March. So we're looking forward to that. Along with that, they typically have recommendations, and that kind of leads into my next item. I had met with Ray and Mike briefly this week just to kind of kick off things with the new committees. And since the 3 of us are on the finance committee, I'm going to plan to meet with them and Jerry coming up just to talk about some things from the previous 2019 audit. I think there were, a few recommendations that we could look to implement as far as just developing better plans and procedures in general, developing better internal controls, better record keeping, that sort of thing. So I think we're going to try to look at those from 2019, as well as look at what the auditors coming up with in 2020, and see where things are at, and see what if anything we need to do to make improvements there. So I just wanted to mention that to council and just see if anyone had any questions or suggestions in general that you'd like for the finance committee to look at going forward. So you don't have to necessarily tell me tonight, but feel free to reach out, and we'll, I think we're going to try to meet regularly just to keep up on things. There's various reports that get submitted throughout the year to the state and to other agencies. And so we're going to try to make sure we keep on top of those and get those in a timely manner. So That's all I have, unless anyone has questions, but thank you.
All right, thanks, Dave. Next would be Trish Redzek-Showalter on ordinances.
Thank you, Madam President. The first item for me tonight is the Borough Manager job description. The ordinance related to that has been advertised and will be hopefully voting here in a moment. I wanted to share a clarification that was made to me, which is that we are updating to include a formal job description, which will be amendable by resolution and available both in the Borough building as well as in E-Code 360. We may still want to revisit this ordinance and make some additional changes in the future to the actual ordinance that may include additional items such as the manager is responsible for maintaining all municipal records and keeping them in good order. Also that the borough manager should be making recommendations to council, but is not actually attempting to influence any decisions that council shall make. And also emphasizing that the role is to be a liaison to council and to the public, and hopefully is encouraged to take an active role in the community, responding in a timely manner. So are there any questions or comments on the ordinance and job description that everyone has received? Okay, so would anyone like to make the motion to pass that?
I'll make the motion to pass the ordinance for the Borough Manager job description.
I'll second that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you. The second item under my agenda for tonight is we are working on an updated list of demolition houses in the borough and also their prioritization. So I'm still working with Nancy Carpenter, who is the former head of ordinances, to acquire from Mark an updated list of these properties before his departure. The third item under my agenda for tonight is billing for landscaping. It recently came to my attention through a search of vacant lots that the borough has been maintaining several vacant lots, such as cutting the grass, for years, and we actually have not sought financial compensation for this service. So going forward, all private property that is maintained by the borough will begin receiving bills for past and present landscaping. So Craig will be putting a $6,000 lien on the property located at 851 2nd Street for maintenance for the past 5 years, and other vacant lots will be following. Our last ordinance meeting was yesterday, and we will be holding our next meeting on March 15th. So we'll be moving that to the third Monday and also shifting it to 4 o'clock instead of 3:30. Are there any questions or comments for me?
Yes, I have one.
Yes, Mayor.
They took the sign down on 2nd Street, the for sale sign.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, I was coming home from church yesterday. I noticed the signs were down.
I wonder if that means it's sold. That means it would be too late for us to put the lien.
Well, we'll look into it.
So
it's
maybe
also
somebody
possible
could...
that the sign's just missing. Yeah, we'll follow up.
Dave, what property are you talking about on 2nd?
Brennan residence.
Oh, okay, the one with the okay. I was thinking across the street on a corner.
I think it's 851 2nd.
I was thinking the other across the street.
Yeah, the one where the one where you're going to put the community garden.
Yeah, but there's nothing there to demolish.
Dave?
Which one are you talking about then?
No, we're talking about... Ray,
Ray, I'm sorry. I think item 2 and 3 got confounded. So this isn't a demo. This is just a lot that we realized we were doing maintenance on 2nd Street, just a vacant lot. And so now we're going to be billing for... Yes, for cutting the lawn primarily.
Yeah, I thought you said demo And I thought, I know that we were talking about the one on Parker or corner of Parker and Second going down the hill, the Fraser property. That's what I thought you were talking about. Okay.
No. Although I'm sure that's on Mark's list for demolition.
Very good, thank you.
Oh, hold on a second. I think Angela might have some input to this for some reason. I don't know. What's going on, Angela?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So what's going on 2nd Street is a friend had called them for me because I was curious and I just wanted to know what was going on. There's a reason I didn't call. Frank Bonarotti knows me. Frank Bonarotti told this person that they put the property up for sale. I believe it was for $15,000. However, they have quite a bit of liens on there. And the property owner indicated that to Frank Bonarotti that they had no intention of clearing those liens, that if anybody wanted the property, that they would have to purchase it for $15,000 and take the liens with it. And Frank Bonarotti said, I'm done. He pulled his signs off. He says, I can't do that. So it is no longer for sale with Riverview Real Estate. And so I don't know what the intentions of the owners are. I think that they saw dollar signs when they realized that Verona was interested in it for the community garden. But as of now, it is not listed for sale with Riverview Real Estate. They may, try to sell it on their own, but nobody's going to buy it with liens. And they were pretty clear to Frank that they weren't they weren't going to clear any liens. So I don't know, at this point, it's not for sale with Riverview Real Estate, but they may still kind of keep an eye on it because they're seeing dollar signs. They know Verona was interested and now all of a sudden it's gold. So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for that clarification, Angela.
Sure.
Okay. So moving on, Mr. Forbeck.
Oh, thanks, Madam President. A few items. First, a little bit of update on the comprehensive plan, that roller coaster ride we've been on since last year. The committee has met last Monday. So far we've done an exhaustive search on grants, we also tried to partner with other municipalities. Oakmont, we attended their planning commission meeting. They are already way down the road on their comprehensive plan and expect to have their plan passed by June or July this year. They were not interested in partnering with us. We looked at Lawnox with Penn Hills and so forth. Long story short, in order for us to move on a comprehensive plan, it looks like we're going to have to go by ourselves. Now, for the grants that are available, they're mostly multi-municipal or they're pretty dried out. We have, since we're also in the market for a new manager, and I think I alluded this several times before, is that some of these managerial prospects have very good comprehensive plan experience. So we also, with that in mind, we also wanted to put out a request for proposal or a scope of work to hire somebody, possibly hire somebody to do this comprehensive plan. And we did not want to do that until we found out what type of person we may have in place in the borough and be able to mold that RFP or scope of work and maybe even perhaps save money on that end of it before we move forward. So right now we are on hold until we figure out what's going to happen with the borough, with the manager. We are going to meet again probably April or May and continue the process. And I'll get you updated on that. The second item is the VOP trail, Verona, Oakmont, Penn Hills, Plum Trail. As you remember, we had a feasibility study done. Dave Matlin and I have been on this group for a number of years. We did apply for Active Allegheny grant for the first portion, which is for engineering design and study from Verona through Oakmont. I got word that we will be receiving a partial grant. I'm not sure of the exact money that is, but the committee, the VOT meeting, which we also meet once a month. Great enthusiastic group of folks, and including people from Friends of the Riverfront. We are going to, obviously, we're going to be, well, I guess the administrator for that grant will be Verona. So we will be the ones that are actually be rewarded for this grant for Verona. We administer it, but it also include the other municipalities. So that's supposed to be, I think, awarded in the beginning of March, and I'll keep everybody updated on that. The other item that was on my list, let me see here. Oh, the absence, since when we had talked about before, and when Jerry had left, and we wanted to know about day-to-day activities and who's going to manage that. You know, from the public works side, I just want to know, what is a chain of command that we're going to, like, for AJ? Is he going through you, Dr. Carpenter, or is that the way? I just want to make sure that we're not telling AJ something and that it's a single point of focus.
For right now, in the immediate situation that occurred a couple of weeks ago, once Jerry stopped being the borough manager, I got in touch with AJ and because there were issues that were coming up of an urgent nature. And I asked him if it worked for him for me to continue to be that contact until we have a borough manager, and he was good with it. And it's working well. And I just didn't really want to change it up if we didn't have to. So, you know, unless he has an objection, which he doesn't at this point, keep that going until we get a borough manager.
Yeah, and that's my purpose, is that we still just we should only have a single person. That's yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
And the other thing I just want to mention is I want to again thank the DPW for doing a wonderful job during all this winter events, the sleet, the ice, the snow, in sickness and in health. You've been doing a wonderful job. So thank you. And that's it for my reports.
Thank you, Mr. Forbeck, and Mr. Suchovich, you're up next.
Mr. Recupero talked about the new hire, Officer Jonico. Mr. Recupero talked about the striping and selling of the car, the old car. I did reach out to one dealer already about striping on the new car. They're getting back to me with pricing. Nobody's gotten back to me with any changes they might want. So what I'm telling the couple dealers that we're dealing with is we want the same striping and lettering that's on there, only in the reflective taping. So that's what, at this point, what I'm going with. If anybody has any questions or whatever, reach out to me and we'll go from there. I think that's all that I had.
Okay, Mr. Suchovich, I just had a question on that striping thing. I may be remembering this incorrectly, but I thought last time or sometime you said something about sharing some mock-ups of pictures of different designs for the striping on the cars. And I don't recall getting that. Yeah.
I did say that. So, I mean, I can, maybe I'm stating it wrong. I can share you the pictures. I just figured everybody knew what the police car looked like. I talked to the mayor and he was okay with the striping that's on there, if I'm correct in what I'm saying, Mayor. And we just talked about just making it a reflective striping with the lighting and everything that's on there, or the lettering and everything that's on there. If somebody has some different ideas.
Okay, so when you say reflective,
it won't be the ghost lettering.
All right, so it'll show up during the day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And I was going to send you everybody pictures, and I'll do that by the end of this week. It's just that with all the snow and everything, I've been very busy the last couple of weeks, last 2 weeks, actually.
Understandable. Okay. I just want to clarify that we get to see a couple pictures. That's all.
Yeah, the mayor sent me some pictures last week, and there's all different things. And I talked to him the other morning one day. I forget what day it was. And just, we kind of talked. Yeah, we kind of talked and just thought that we'll get pricing on what we have, but not the ghost lettering.
All right, great. Fantastic.
Am I right, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys for working together to do that. I appreciate it. All right, moving on to Janet Loalbo, Mrs. Loalbo.
Thank you. I really didn't have much to say. Hopefully with the break in the weather, we'll see some more action going on with the pavilion at Cribs, with a little bit of melt. I haven't ran into Mr. Pampina to, question him, the contractor, to see, what the latest update is. Hopefully I can get an answer from him. I can speak with him soon and see, this is going to be a setback with the weather we just had the past couple of weeks, or what will be going on. Dave Matlin had brought up a little note, with some of the items that might need to be purchased for the pavilion, for the concession stand. I would like to meet with RAA and the Lower Valley Football Association, along with any other groups that have any, interest in what we might need inside the concession stand once it is completed. Take a look at Creekside and Oakmont, their new concession stand, to see, what they have in there, which we might want to implement into ours. But at this time, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Mrs. Provenza, you're next.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with the newsletter. We're currently working on our spring edition, and the ads and the articles are due Monday, March 1st. And we are putting a call out. We do need articles. We don't have a lot of them at this time, and articles really help to make the newsletter. We get so many comments from our residents here. They really enjoy the articles. So I would strongly encourage, along with Donald and Angela, that you folks would please send us some articles. We could use them. We don't have a whole lot at this time. And of course, ads always pay the bill. So, if you have any ads, please give me a call. The articles can be sent to our editor, Dawn Wharf, and it would be at veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And I can be reached at 412-828-7726 for the ads. Next would be, excuse me, next would be Chamber of Commerce. I did speak with President of Chamber, Kevin Ewing, and right now, with everything so up and down, one day we're doing it, one day we're not. Tentative plans are being made for the spring and summer. And he said he's certainly hoping that Bike Derby can be done, but just not sure. And also he mentioned that you can't have more than 100 people at a function at a time. So we're hoping maybe that will loosen up where we'll be able to have more functions. And certainly looking down the road, hoping for the Dave Recupero's, Mayor Dave's car show, and also certainly a Halloween parade and a Christmas function. These were the things that Kevin and I had talked about. So he said time will tell. We're just not sure, kind of a day-by-day thing. And also the mail-ins are going to go out for membership in the next 2 weeks. The Historical Society, still, all meetings have been canceled till further notice. And if you like, you're certainly welcome to go to the website. There may be information there. It would be veronahistory.org. The Twin Boroughs Ministries, a reminder, the community dinners will be tomorrow evening at the Methodist Church from 4:30 to 6:30. They will be grab and go dinners, and the dinners will be hosted by Longwood of Oakmont. And in closing with that, if anyone is in need of any winter clothes, whether it's coats, jackets, sweaters, whatever, or any kind of clothes, Shirley Davis is more than welcoming anyone that needs them. And all they have to do is give her a call, make an appointment, and she will be glad to come down and open the church, and people can take whatever they would need. And her telephone number is 412-828-3412. And Nancy, I'll give my ALOM too, which is very brief here. Spoke with ALOM, and right now there's really not a lot to tell. They're still holding to the spring conference at Seven Springs, which is still scheduled for June 17th through the 20th. So I'll keep everybody updated on that. That is the only thing they could tell me. I thank you very much. That is my report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Provenza. All right, Dave Matlin, anything from COG?
No, our monthly meeting is tomorrow night, so I don't have updates.
All right, so we'll hear more about that on the next meeting. All right, wow, that's it for our reports. Nice short meeting tonight, huh, everybody? We will now hear comments from the public on any item. Please raise your virtual hand and clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes if at all possible. And we have Dan Showalter. Go ahead.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Dan Showalter, 440 North Avenue. Just a clarification and a comment. Mayor Dave, you like the designs for the cars and the way everything seems to be turning out?
So far, yeah. I mean, I just sent all of council picture of what I would like to see on the cars. So that would be a determination from the board, the input from them. But yeah, we're going to go with something different where it'll look sharp.
Okay, great. I trust your opinion on this, so end of that. Also, I did see the trees over on East Railroad out front of the Borough Building and further down. I was driving to Giant Eagle a little earlier. If you ever saw my hedges, you would realize I don't know what I'm doing with clippers, but I get the job done, but they're ugly looking. What I saw done to those trees, even I, somebody that does not know anything, knows whatever they did wrong. They are butchered. Laura knows a heck of a lot more about this than I do. Steph knows a heck of a lot, Kimberly knows a heck of a lot more about this than I do. But guys, if you have the opportunity, go down there and look at them. When you see them, just your gut, it strikes you in your gut. Something was done really, really wrong here. So that's my comment. Have a good night, guys.
Oh, okay, thanks, Dan. I think everybody's pretty much in agreement about the trees. Anyway, I see Kim Roller is up next.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry you keep hearing from me today, but I promise I'll be short and sweet. I had some questions about what was brought up quickly when we were talking about the farmers market, that there was maybe some finance issues or things that we weren't sure about. Would you be able to share with the community what's going on with that, or do we need to wait for another meeting?
Dave, you want to take that?
Sure, yeah. right now there's some concerns about a few things that we're looking into about past finances. So we're trying to straighten that out and gather more information. Unfortunately, I don't really have enough information to present at this meeting. I'd like to have more information and get some answers on some things before, discussing that in further detail. But I believe we should have some updates at the next meeting. I forget the date, but in 2 weeks in March.
Okay. I know that we had originally talked several months ago now that I know there was an issue with money that was coming in for the newsletter, and that went to an incorrect area. Is that the kind of thing that we're seeing, that money was incorrectly placed? What has been found that you can share, or can we not hear anything right now?
I think there's been the accounting of some of the accounting's a little bit unorganized right now, and I'm personally working with the committee and with the president to try to sort this stuff out. Susan's been a great help in looking at some operational things overall, and she's still working on her report. And we're going to be having a meeting with Susan on Saturday, March, I don't have the date in front of me, March 6th, I think. So again, this is kind of a fluid situation that we're trying to sort through and find out some details and solutions going forward. And I mentioned, just some of the general things, better plans, procedures, better internal controls, things of that sort. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be a further update at the next meeting where we'll have better information. I mean, right now I have a lot of questions that we're still trying to sort through.
Okay, so you'll keep the community then updated and what goes on with the situation, because I know if we're saying there's issues, we've already committed to having finances be done by a service, and if we're having issues, and I'm selfishly, but maybe not selfishly, thinking, okay, well, the garden club specifically, we got all of our stuff approved in the budget, and we have baskets, and we're good to go. And now hearing this, I'm kind of going, okay, well, wait, do I need to plan a bigger spring fundraiser? Like, what's the plan now? And what our continuation be to keep going with Jerry and his service? Because I know that we all agreed that, that he could stay on as a finance person. And so now I'm questioning as to whether or not that if the council is going to start looking into that being the case, or if we need to look for a new service.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, there are issues, as Dave stated, and the situation we find ourselves in right now is we don't have all the information. And before we go ahead and share what is going on, we want to have the exact accurate information to share, and we just don't have that yet. But we know enough to know that we need to reevaluate some of our expenditures for this year. I think we do know that much. And so, but we can't be sure about anything. We don't have all the information. Once we do, and we made some decisions about how to move forward, and I think that we will know by March 9th. We are having a conference training for Susan Harkenberry to share with us her findings from all of her interviews and other research she's been doing for us. She is a financial expert, and she's been helping us out. So, you know, we're not trying to, you know, freeze you guys out. We also don't want to start anything and then come back in 2 weeks and say, oops, that wasn't the right information. Here's the right information. So I think we're just asking for everyone, you know, for your patience. There is something going on. We are going to share it with you as soon as we know everything that we need to know to have an accurate presentation.
I appreciate your transparency and you guys at least, you know, starting to let us know that something's going on. So thank you very much and look forward to the next meeting.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah. Hey guys, and do us a favor, when you're done sharing, could you please lower your hand? I get confused because I don't necessarily always see when it goes up and down, so appreciate it. Stephanie is up next.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Kim said, you know, to further look into Jerry and the services that he's providing, I think it's pretty ridiculous that we are coming into the 3rd month of the year after we went through the budget, after everything was supposed to be done and handled, and here we are. You know, I supported Jerry in being the financial director. You've heard my many emails, etc. But this is ridiculous to find out that we don't even have our ducks in a row after he sat here and told us, oh, I've taken care of everything, I've gotten us out of the red. This is ridiculous. I want to swear right now, but I'm not going to. But I really need you guys to take into account what Jerry has done. The fact that you guys are going through this and having to go through it, and now several other organizations are sitting here wondering if we're going to get the money that was budgeted for.
I feel you. I agree.
So can I say something here? I mean, it's just you got to realize. I know there's probably speculation, but we didn't say anything about whether it was Jerry or anything. It's just that
Jerry holds the finances, Mike. So he's the one who's been taking care of this. What do you mean?
But what
do you mean? He sat here and put off the audits. Now we get the audits, and the person who was in charge of the finances, now the finances aren't what we thought they were. There's a whoops.
No.
Are you in charge of the finances?
No, but what we're trying to say is that there's a lot of information that we're gathering. Susan Hockenberry did a great job. She's had a financial background. We might just have to change the course, the way that we were doing things before, to make things better. So there's still a lot of information that we have to gather.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. Laura is up next.
Hi, I'll keep it really quick, I promise. I just wanted to, since Craig is still here from earlier, just really quickly. I think Craig, you had said something about how you didn't think that like we had to look into legal stuff for some of this tree things. I just want to say that I think that you and I might have to work together on some of that, because I have a big concern that a bid was you know, not done properly. So I think that you and I might have to work together to deal with some of that. You know, we'll see how it shakes out, but looking into legal options to me is not beyond the scope of what might need to be done here. I'm just preparing you. That's kind of what. So it's an option I'm still keeping open. That's all.
All right, I'd be happy to do that, Laura.
Thank you, and I know you've always been really pleasant to work with. So thank you.
You too.
Thanks, Laura. All right, I do not see any virtual hands raised at this time. If anybody's having a hard time finding your virtual hand, just so you know, in the old version of Zoom, the virtual hand was in participants. In the new version of Zoom, it's under reactions. So,
okay, Nancy, give it a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so given the fact that I don't see any more hands, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion, Nancy.
Okay.
I'll second.
First by Sylvia, second by Ray. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.